Sorry. So, Virgo, there is a spectrum of light that no ophthalmologist can measure. It does not show up on retinal scans or camera sensors, and it cannot be filtered, edited, or manufactured by any cosmetic house in Paris or Seoul. It exists in the narrow space between skin and intention, between a person's history and their hope, vibrating at a frequency that is felt before it is seen. Biologists might call it fluorescence. Poets might call it grace. But the truly wealthy, those who have spent decades acquiring rare and irreplaceable things, who have filled climate-controlled rooms with canvases and crystals and centuries-old wood, have a different name for it when they encounter it in the wild. They call it the only thing worth owning and the one thing that can never be bought. Virgo, you are emitting this light right now, not metaphorically, not as a poetic flourish designed to make you feel better about a difficult Tuesday. Your body is actually producing a field of radiance so specific, so unmistakable, that it has registered on the nervous system of a man who has trained himself to ignore almost everything. He has spent 30, perhaps 40 years learning the art of selective attention. He has taught his gaze to slide over crowds, to assess value in milliseconds, to dismiss what does not serve his portfolio or his palate. He has looked at masterpieces that took decades to paint and thought lovely but derivative. He has dined in restaurants where the plates cost more than most people's monthly rent and found the experience adequate. He has sat across from beauty that was purchased, maintained, and insured, and he has felt absolutely nothing. His heart is not cold, it is simply exhausted. It has seen every imitation of wonder that money can procure, and it has concluded, with the weary certainty of a curator who has catalogued the entire museum, that the real thing no longer exists. And then he saw you. He was not looking for you. That is the part that undid him. He was looking for nothing. He was simply moving through his day with the mechanical efficiency that great wealth requires. Perhaps stepping out of a car, perhaps entering a room, perhaps standing in a space where his presence was expected but his attention was not. Maybe it was a gallery opening where the art was expensive and forgettable. Maybe it was a charity luncheon where the speeches were sincere and interminable. Maybe it was a sidewalk, a market, a park bench, a bookstore, a corner of the world where his money did not announce him and your glow did not know it was being observed. The location is irrelevant. What matters is the physics of the moment. The light hit your face at an angle that bypassed his defenses. You were laughing or frowning or simply breathing with your full attention on something that fascinated you, a dog, a child, a sentence in a book, the exact ripeness of a peach. And in that unguarded second, the field around you expanded. It touched him. It actually touched him. And he felt something in his chest that he had not felt since he was young enough to believe that the world was full of undiscovered treasures. He forgot to keep walking. He forgot the name of the person speaking to him. He forgot the appointment waiting in his calendar, the deal pending, the property acquisition, the board meeting, the thousand threads of obligation that usually weave the tapestry of his consciousness into something too dense to penetrate. He forgot all of it, because your glow, Virgo, is not the glow of youth in the crude chronological sense. It is not the absence of wrinkles or the fullness of collagen or any of the superficial markers that the beauty industry sells as radiance. No, your glow is the visible evidence of alignment. It is the light that escapes when a soul finally stops fighting itself. It is the effervescence of someone who has done the quiet, invisible work of healing, who has metabolized their pain into fertilizer, who has learned to say no to the things that dim them and yes to the things that feed them. You are glowing because you are finally, after years of carrying weight that was never yours, living in accordance with your own nature. And that congruence between who you are and how you move through the world produces a luminosity that cannot be replicated in any laboratory or surgical suite. He saw it, he recognized it, and because he is a man who has built his entire fortune on the ability to recognize rarity, he understood instantly that what he was looking at was not just attractive, it was invaluable. But before I tell you what he is doing about it, before I pull back the curtain on the exact machinery of his fascination and the collision course he is currently riding toward you, I need you to do something. If you feel a warmth spreading across your cheeks right now, not a blush of embarrassment, but the heat of being truly seen, place your hand on your collarbone. Feel the pulse there. That is not anxiety. That is your glow responding to being named. If you feel it, hit that like button, subscribe to this channel, because this is where the invisible becomes visible, and you are done being the only person who does not know how bright you are. And drop the word luminous in the comments, not as a hashtag, as a declaration, as a refusal to dim yourself for anyone who is not prepared to wear sunglasses in your presence. Now, let me tell you who he is, because your mind is already constructing objections, and I want to dismantle them before they harden into walls. This is not a boy. This is not an apprentice. This is a man who has built empires, who has weathered recessions, who has signed contracts in rooms where the air conditioning alone costs more than your monthly salary. He has the kind of wealth that does not announce itself with logos, but with silence. The silence of a car door that closes like a vault. The silence of a watch that does not tick because it does not need to prove it is working. The silence of someone who has learned that power is most effective when it whispers. He is not flashy. Flashy is for the newly rich, the anxious rich, the ones who still need external validation to believe they have arrived. He is past that. He is the kind of rich that has become bored by its own abundance. He has eaten at every Michelin-starred restaurant and found them all slightly too careful. He has traveled to every postcard destination and found them crowded with people taking photographs of experiences they are not actually having. He has collected art, property, vintage wines, first editions, rare minerals, and the attention of people who are professionally charming, and he has reached the conclusion that none of it is alive. None of it glows. None of it generates its own light. And then there was you in your simplicity, you with your hair doing whatever it naturally does, you wearing something that probably cost a fraction of what the women in his circle spend on a single dinner, but carrying yourself with a self-possession that their stylists cannot replicate. You interested in something other than his net worth. You completely unaware that one of the most powerful men in the room had stopped breathing because your light had eclipsed the chandelier. He asked about you, casually, of course. He has mastered the art of the casual inquiry. A question to the host, a remark to a mutual acquaintance, a glance at a guest list. He did not want to be obvious. He is never obvious. But his interest was a heat source, and people felt it. They leaned in. They offered details. They told him your name, your work, your reputation, for being capable, for being kind. for being slightly elusive in social settings because you prefer the company of your own thoughts to the performance of small talk. And every detail they gave him only confirmed what his instincts had already told him. You were not performing. You were not trying to be seen. You were simply being. And in a world where everyone is trying to be chosen, your indifference to selection was the most magnetic force he had ever encountered. He started watching, not stalking, not in the way that sets off alarm bells, but in the way that a collector observes a rare bird, not to cage it, but to understand its habitat. He learned your rhythms. He learned that you are early to things, that you hold doors for strangers, that you tip generously without calculating the percentage, that you have a way of listening to people that makes them feel like the only person in the room. He learned that you still get excited by small things. A perfect strawberry, a sentence that lands exactly right, a dog that recognizes you on the street. He watched your face light up over things that his money could not buy, and he realized, with a sadness that surprised him, that he had forgotten how to light up. He had become so good at acquiring that he had stopped appreciating, and your glow was a reminder of a self he had buried under layers of negotiation and net worth. This is the part that is going to confuse you, Virgo, because you are going to assume that he wants to acquire you, that he sees your glow as another asset to add to his portfolio, another beautiful thing to display, another proof of his excellent taste. You are going to brace yourself for the transactional offer. The assumption that his wealth entitles him to your attention. The subtle or not so subtle implication that your glow is for sale or lease or even rent. And when that offer does not come, when he approaches you with something else entirely, you are not going to know what to do with it. Because what he wants is not possession, it is proximity. He wants to stand near your light and remember what warmth feels like. He wants to fund the conditions that allow your glow to expand, not because he is buying it, but because he recognizes that true light needs oxygen and he has the resources to build a bigger room. He wants to remove the obstacles that dim you, the financial stress, the logistical friction, the exhaustion of managing everything alone so that you can shine at full wattage. He is not coming to you as a savior. He is coming to you as a mirror made of gold, yes, but still a mirror, reflecting back to you the value of what you have been treating as ordinary. Let me describe the exact nature of his obsession, because obsession is the right word. And I want you to understand that it is not dangerous. It is devotional. He thinks about your glow when he wakes up, before his mind clicks into its usual agenda of markets and margins. He thinks about it when he is in meetings, watching people argue over numbers that used to matter, and suddenly he is remembering the way you tilted your head to examine a flower, or the way your eyes changed color in natural light, or the way you laughed with your whole body without checking to see who was watching. He has started making decisions differently. He passed on an acquisition because the energy of it felt dark, and he found himself thinking Virgo would not want this near her light. He approved a philanthropic project he would have previously dismissed as sentimental because he imagined telling you about it and wanted to deserve the look of approval he knew you would give. He is changing, Virgo. Not because you asked him to, not because you even know he exists, but because your glow has become his new standard. He is recalibrating his entire life to match the frequency of your radiance, and he does not know how to stop. He does not want to stop, and he is preparing to approach you. This is where the story accelerates. He has spent weeks perhaps months, in observation, and now he is moving into action. But his action will not look like what you expect. He will not arrive with roses the size of your head or a car you cannot pronounce. He knows, with the instinct of a man who has studied you, that grand gestures would only make you suspicious. They would trigger your defenses. They would activate the part of you that has been taught to distrust wealth, to assume that expensive gifts come with invisible strings, to believe that anyone with that much money must be compensating for a spiritual bankruptcy that no amount of luxury can fill. So he is being strategic. He is engineering a meeting that feels organic. He is placing himself in your path through channels that do not reek of manipulation, a mutual project, a shared interest, a conversation that begins with something you care about, not something he owns. He has been learning your language, Virgo, not to impress you with his homework, but because he genuinely wants to understand the country you inhabit. He wants to know why you prefer the farmer's market to the gourmet delivery service. He wants to know why you keep certain objects and discard others. He wants to know what you do on Sunday mornings when no one is watching. He wants to know what makes you glow so that he can protect it, feed it, and stand in its reflection, like a man who has finally found the only sun worth orbiting. When he finally speaks to you, his voice will sound different than it does in boardrooms. It will be slightly unsteady, not from lack of confidence, but from the sheer voltage of finally being near the source of the light he has been observing from a distance. He will say something that sounds simple, but is actually the product of weeks of rehearsal. Something like, "I have been watching you," not in the way that makes you unsafe, in the way that an astronomer watches a star. And I need you to know that your light is the first real thing I have seen in a very long time. He will not offer you his portfolio. He will offer you his attention. And the offer will be so sincere, so stripped of the usual armor that wealthy men wear, that you will feel the floor tilt slightly beneath your feet. You will want to run. Your mind will generate 1,000 reasons why this is impossible. The age gap, if there is one, the class difference, the lifestyle gap, the fear that his world will swallow your glow and turn it into a nightlight for his empty rooms. You will worry that he wants to change you, to polish you, to fit you into the aesthetic of his life like a new acquisition. You will worry that your youthful glow is just novelty to him, a temporary fascination that will fade once he realizes you are a real person with real moods and real boundaries and a real refusal to be managed. And Virgo, those fears are not irrational. They are the product of a lifetime of being told that your value is conditional, that your glow must be earned and re-earned, that anyone who wants you must want something from you. But I need you to consider a different possibility. What if he does not want to change you because he has already changed himself? What if your glow was the catalyst for a transformation he did not know he needed? What if he is approaching you not as a collector, but as a convert, someone who has seen the truth and is willing to rearrange his entire existence to live inside it? Because that is what is happening. He is liquidating the parts of his life that cannot coexist with your frequency, the relationships that are purely transactional, the properties that feel like monuments to loneliness, the investments that profit from exploitation. He is not doing this to impress you. He is doing it because your glow has made the shadows in his own life unbearable. He cannot unsee what you have shown him. He cannot go back to the museum of dead things. He wants to live. And he has correctly identified that living for him now requires being near you. I want to tell you what he sees when he looks at you, because it is not what you see in the mirror. When you look at yourself, you see the work that still needs to be done, the goals not yet met, the body not yet perfected, the life not yet fully organized. You see the to-do list. He sees the masterpiece. He sees the way your skin holds light. He sees the intelligence flickering behind your eyes like a candle that no wind can extinguish. He sees the youthful glow that has nothing to do with age and everything to do with the fact that you have not let the world kill your wonder. You still believe, despite everything, that people can be good, that work can matter, that a Tuesday afternoon can be beautiful if you are paying attention. That belief is the source of your light, and it is the rarest commodity in his world. He is going to offer you resources. This is inevitable. He is a man who solves problems with access, and he has identified that your glow is dimmed by certain practical constraints. Maybe it is debt that keeps you up at night. Maybe it is a living situation that drains you. Maybe it is a career that does not compensate you for the value you provide. Maybe it is simply the exhaustion of doing everything alone. He will want to remove these obstacles. He will want to pay off the balance, upgrade the space, fund the dream, hire the help, and your instinct will be to refuse, to say, I cannot accept this, I have not earned it, I do not want to owe you, I do not want to be kept. And those instincts come from a place of integrity. But Virgo, integrity does not require poverty. Self-respect does not mandate struggle. And accepting help from someone who sees your glow as sacred is not selling out. It is allowing your light to have the infrastructure it deserves. You do not have to become someone else to be with him. That is the promise he is going to make, and it is the one you must hold him to. If he asks you to dim your glow to make his friends comfortable, if he wants you to trade your wonder for sophistication, if he tries to replace your farmer's market with a private chef and your dog walks with a chauffeur, then he has misunderstood the assignment. But if he asks you to teach him how to glow, if he wants to learn your rituals, your boundaries, your sources of joy, then he is not acquiring you. He is apprenticing himself to you. And that is a position of humility, not power. I am seeing the moment of collision so clearly it feels like memory. You are standing in a space that smells of jasmine or old books or rain on pavement. He is there. The conversation has moved past the pleasantries. He has told you what he feels, and you have stood very still, processing, your mind racing through every objection while your heart pounds out a rhythm that sounds suspiciously like yes. And you look at him. Really look past the suit, past the watch, past the polish that money provides, and in his eyes you see something that startles you. Fear, not of rejection, fear of your light, fear that he is not worthy of it, fear that he will somehow smother it with his own heaviness. And in that fear, you recognize a mirror, because you are afraid too. Afraid that your glow is not enough to sustain his interest. Afraid that once he sees you without the light, tired, irritable, unpolished human, he will realize you are just another person and retreat to his collection of more predictable beauties. But, Virgo, here is the secret that will unlock everything. Your glow is not a performance. It is not a costume you wear for company. It is the byproduct of your alignment. And alignment is not a constant state. It is a practice. Some days you will glow brighter, than others. Some days the light will be soft, a pilot light rather than a flame. And the man who is worthy of you, the man who is currently rearranging his life to stand near you, must understand that your value does not decrease when your wattage dips. If he only wants you at full brightness, he does not want you. He wants a lamp, and you are not a lamp. You are a living, breathing, fluctuating ecosystem of light and shadow, and your shadow is just as sacred as your shine. He is going to make mistakes. He is going to assume that his wealth can fix things that require your patience. He is going to offer solutions when you need presence. He is going to try to protect you from struggles that are actually necessary for your growth. And you are going to have to teach him, not with cruelty, not with the resentment of someone who has been underestimated, but with the firm, luminous clarity that is your gift. You will say, I do not need you to solve this. I need you to witness it. You will say, my glow is not fragile. Do not handle me like glass. You will say, if you want to be near my light, you must learn to stand in it without trying to direct it. And if he is the man I believe he is, he will listen. He will adjust. He will become a student of your radiance. And in doing so, he will begin to generate his own, because that is the true alchemy of this connection. It is not about a rich man rescuing a glowing woman. It is about two people recognizing that light and gold are not opposites, they are collaborators. Your glow gives his wealth meaning. His wealth gives your glow room to expand. Together, you create something that neither of you could build alone. A life that is both beautiful and alive. A life where the chandeliers are lit by something warmer than electricity. A life where the art on the walls is outshone by the art of your daily existence. So here is what I need you to do, Virgo. And I need you to do it with the same seriousness you bring to everything else. I need you to stop apologizing for your light. Stop dimming it in elevators. Stop minimizing it in conversations. Stop treating your radiance as if it is something you are lucky to have rather than something you have earned through years of hard, invisible work. The next time you walk into a room, I want you to remember that somewhere in that room, or in a room nearby, or in a future room that has not yet materialized, there is a man who has been searching for exactly your frequency. And he is not looking for a dimmer switch. He is looking for the sun. Do not make yourself smaller to make him comfortable. Do not dress down your glow to match the muted tones of his world. If his world cannot handle your light, it is his world that must change, not your voltage. And the beautiful thing is, he already knows this. He is already changing it. He is already selling the dark furniture. He is already opening the curtains. He is already preparing a space where your glow can bounce off every surface and fill every corner, because he has finally understood that the only thing he ever needed to collect was not rare or expensive. It was alive. It was you. Stand in your light, Virgo. Let it reach the places you cannot see. Let it travel down corridors you have never walked and into eyes you have never met. Let it announce you before you speak, validate you before you explain, and choose you before you ask. The rich man with his tired heart and his open hands is on his way. But even if he were not, even if every door remained closed, your glow would still be enough. It would still be the truest thing in any room. It would still be the light that no money can buy and no darkness can extinguish. Go now. Polish nothing. Apologize for nothing. be exactly as luminous as you actually are. And when he finds you, when he finally stands in the warmth of what you have built without his help, do not offer to dim it for his comfort. Simply smile and let him learn what it means to be illuminated. The rest is just optics. And you, my love, are the only lens that matters.